And we're live. We are live.
All right.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it's first time using StreamYard, so this will be fun. What's up, everybody? It's Crash, Flagrant, and welcome to the draw. Um, just start off, you'll notice that we are a co-host down. No big fallouts or issues or anything. Had a disagreement, and yeah, that's about it. Just had some stuff we couldn't agree on. So just taking their separate paths, and it's all good. Filthy's awesome dude. Wish him best, and I mean, no animosity or anything toward him, and everybody should still go check him out. He's at Filthy Thoughts on Twitter and YouTube, right?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's it. That's his name all across the board on all the
Yeah,
social medias.
yeah. So still go check him out. Show him some support and give him some love.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, tonight's show is brought to you by the one and only FlagrantTriggers.com, where we have our wonderful creators. We've got X-Ray, we've got Chrissy, we've got me, we've got Lila, we've got Crash's Libertarian Party of Okaloosa County, Trinity, Nevada. Mark just got added. Mark's got a movie now. It's called Fear the Reaper that you can get. It's his solo project that he did. We've got Crip Daddy with his God canceled me before Twitter did. And holy shit, Donovan is awesome. He's a really solid guy. He's super humble, funny as shit, and he's been through more cancellation stuff than probably most people I know for sure, or anyone that I've talked to in the space. Yeah, go there, grab you some threads. Tonight it's me and Crash, and we have a guest coming on later, and we're going to talk about the one and only Eliza Bleu and
Eliza Blue. I thought her
the
name was Eliza Seat. Or is it
I
Eliza
thought
Cut?
or Morthand,
Northland?
Mothman, Morth, Northman, something. Yeah,
Northland.
yeah, Morth something. Mothra. There we go. Eliza Mothra. Because well, I mean, she has kind of cocooned into something that no one expected, huh?
Right.
Mm. It makes me think of you ever seen that butterfly in the? I can't remember if it's in the Amazon or what, but like its wings look like snake heads.
I I have never heard of this.
Oh, dude,
You need to show
yeah,
me this.
I will. It's pretty cool actually. But uh, Crash, what have you been up to?
Uh, well, got some New Year's resolutions, which I'm totally falling behind in, but we're still going, still trying. One of them's I'm trying to run 1,000 miles this year. I've got about 15 in so far, and it's 1 month down, so I'm way behind. Um, doing a lot more
That
reading.
that's a lot of fucking running, dude.
So it's a little under 20 miles per week,
Mm.
which I can do if I'm consistent, but I just haven't had the best weather for it the past week and a half, so I've kind of fallen behind on that.
Dealing with that Florida rain.
Yeah, rain. Well, I mean, we kind of had this cold cold front come through. Like it's been cold, and I don't know where my winter running gear is.
Mm.
Like I'm pretty sure it's in storage because I didn't think I would need it here, and I'm just refusing to go through storage to try and find my winter running gear just to get another run in. I figure I'll just catch up later because I when I'm consistently running, I generally get over 20 miles, so I figure I'll catch up eventually to the goal.
Yeah, that's one thing I was never. I could sprint long distance stuff though, like you do. No way. I just couldn't do it. I had zero stamina. I was very fast and very quick, but my stamina was absolute garbage.
I mean, I almost quit my freshman year of high school. 2 weeks into it, I told my dad I didn't want to do this anymore because it was a lot of running and I had never done it before.
Hmm.
And my dad said, just finish out one season. I said, okay, fine. I will finish one season and then I'm done.
Mm.
After the third week, we had our first PE test in gym, it's high school.
Yeah.
We ran the mile and I beat everybody in my gym class. Obviously I didn't beat everybody on my team. But yeah, in my gym class, because they're just average, people, I beat them all, and it felt really good. So it just became a thing for me. I ran all 4 years. I did try out at Virginia Tech to attempt to be on their team
Mhm.
when I went to college, but that didn't work out too well because I did not train much that summer. So and then I found out the day of the tryout race there were 2 spots available and there was 17 of us there, and I knew
Oh, wow.
those guys. There's going to be a lot of fast guys there, much
Yeah.
faster than me. And
Yeah.
I went out with them because I said, like, well, I got to go for it and try to get that spot or not.
Mhm. Wait, how'd you end
And
up doing?
I ended up running like slower than I did in a few years. Like, just to give you an example, my 5K PR is 18:15,
Mhm.
and I think I ran a 24-minute that day. And
Oh,
the
wow.
guys who actually got on the team were running 17 minutes,
Yeah.
I believe. 17, maybe 16. They were fast.
Long distance, the best I ever did was I ran like a just over 6-minute mile. That was not good. And that was when I was like in actual decent shape.
6 minutes is pretty good, man.
Nah,
That's better than
I
average.
I guess I
Seriously.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was in really good shape when I was younger though, and but there was no way I was getting faster because I wasn't small. I was hefty. Like as far as
Yeah, so it's
a lot
even
of
more
muscle.
impressive. It's even more impressive when you're pushing more weight around.
Yeah,
I was tiny in high school.
I think I weighed about 190 ish. Yeah.
I was 5'2". I'm only 5'4" now. But yeah, I was 5'2" and 110 pounds.
Yeah, that is
Yeah, that
the
helps
runner
a lot.
frame.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a bit
Uh
heavier now. I would love to run a 6-minute mile now. Holy
there we go.
crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Deception abounds,
Yes.
which is very fitting for the discussion.
That is
So,
incredible.
yeah, it's I mean, that's really good camouflage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unless you are dealing with something like a mongoose, because they don't give
Yeah.
an F.
No. Then you look like food.
Yeah. Oh, good old Eliza. It's been quite an interesting couple of weeks, huh?
Indeed, indeed. How did this even start? Let's start at the beginning. Where did this
How
start to
did
go
it
downhill?
start? Um, I'm pretty sure it all started with Miss Venti, didn't it? She
I
kind of
think
cracked the
so.
seal, or was
Yeah.
it what's his name, Dinko?
Defango?
Defango. Yeah, yeah,
Well, it was Defango's tweet thread that Venti tweeted at Eliza.
yeah. Mm.
And that's where it started.
Ah, okay.
So Defango's been onto it for a while. Apparently, he actually has some history. He has met her in the past under different circumstances and under a different name.
Hmm.
And
See, I didn't know this
so,
part.
yeah. So he uh, put together kind of a rough timeline and
Hmm.
said, like, so when did she actually get trafficked? Because it didn't seem to make sense. And so there's basically three stories with Eliza when it comes to the trafficking part, as I understand it. There's one, she made a claim that she was trafficked during high school age, like when she was underage. I believe she may have left home and moved to LA. I don't know if that actually fits the timeline, or I didn't think to check that, but she claimed that she went back to her abusers years later, and that again she was trafficked and sold or whatever, and then there was this whole thing with one Malice's interview, Michael Malice, where she talked about her image being trafficked, uh, which is basically catfishing. Like basically, she said that her abusers were creating fake profiles using her photos and using it to catfish people.
Hmm. Let's take 1 second because our esteemed guest has arrived.
Yay!
It is the Front Porch Conservative.
Esteemed guest? Who are you talking about?
Absolutely.
What?
You, dude, the most stylish. Then how about that?
Again, it's a stretch, fellas. It's a real stretch. That's all I'm saying. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. I have to say, I love your intro. I watched your Eliza Bleu video yesterday,
Mhm.
and
Well, thank
I love your
you.
intro that you do before you get into it. So yeah, that was great. I am your front porch conservative. Step onto the electronic front porch, and yeah, it's
Thank you. I genuinely appreciate that. I've been trying to figure out. So I guess the secret's now out for everybody. At some point, I'm waiting for a couple of pieces of hardware sometime in February, which is basically a better laptop than what I've got now, because this old thing is wonderful, but bless its heart, not the kind of horsepower I need. I've got a workhorse of a laptop and not a racehorse. So, but once that comes in, I'm hoping to post videos on a more regular basis, make commentary on some things, and just kind of get into it and see what happens. Make it a nice hobby. So, but yes, there is an Eliza Bleu video out there that I did. So, and thank you for watching it. I genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think it encapsulated a lot of what everyone is. The problem everyone has with it, as far as the. I want to call it Murphyism of it, but because it really is Jack Murphy 2.0, but it actually may be way more sinister from some stuff that's floating around. Nothing's confirmed yet, though, as far as I know. But
okay. I need to tell you, just sorry to interrupt, but YouTube removed my subscription to your channel, Front Porch.
I did.
I know that I subscribed when I went to go watch the video, when I found that you were posting videos, and I just had to resubscribe right now. Like,
wow,
you've got 5 subscribers and you're already on their radar. Like, what the heck?
I was gonna say that's just nuts.
Yeah, I was just wanted to dig up your video so I could post it in the chat.
I was like, wow. I was like, holy cow. YouTube, I promise I'll abide by your rules. I may not agree with them, but I'll abide by them. But you're at 6 subscribers, you really don't need to start subtracting anything at this stage, guys. Really? Help a brother out here. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this makes me wonder, like, how much reach does this whole Eliza situation have? Because she's definitely made some connections in the Silicon Valley world, the activist world, the news world, well, mainstream, but also independent as well. So I'm wondering if it's gotten to a point already to where it's one of those algorithmically fed catchphrase words that the AI just picks up on, and it automatically starts going after people. Like the video, I heard the video, you can't even post a clip of it online now.
Yeah, from what I understand, the video World Star Hip Hop, it's been taken down.
Nope.
His workhorse laptop. We may have gone we may push it too far.
Yeah. He has a good freeze frame though.
That's
you
true.
Gotta give him that. Looking dapper.
We got to capture that. That's a good. That's a memeable freeze frame right there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back, I think.
Yes.
There you are.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, workhorse, not a racehorse. So we'll hopefully get that fixed. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know how far the reach is yet, but this story is definitely spreading out because it's more than just a dispute between 2 women at this stage. This is a free speech issue. This is a Twitter issue. And I'm sorry, I don't know who Eliza Bleu does and does not have connections to inside Twitter, but I will say this. It strikes me as very interesting that this individual either by her own hand or by someone on her behalf, is just absolutely shutting down legitimately asked questions about her past. I mean, the way I liken this now, this is much like dropping a side of beef into a swimming pool filled full of piranha fish. Okay,
Yeah.
what you have is a justified feeding frenzy. Now, I say justified on two grounds. Number one, this all could have been avoided if Eliza Bleu just answers Brittany Venti's question. Okay, it could have been avoided even further if Eliza Bleu had her Twitter page set up where you could send her a direct message. Okay, because I said this the other night on a live stream with Chrissy Mayer. She had a member stream for her channel, and I said, Eliza, I mean, all things being equal, Brittany Venti probably would have preferred to message Eliza directly and just keep this thing from being public. Now, would she have gotten an answer? Who knows? Would she have been satisfied with the answer? Who knows? But this could have been done behind the scenes, and it never would have blown up the way it did. Instead, she doesn't answer the question, so she does the internet equivalent of lawyering up. And then, either by her own hand or by someone else's actions, this Amanda Jean woman, whoever she is, Brittany gets blocked. Then the quartering. Then Yellow Flash. Not flagrant, but Fealty, I think, was in on that. He said something, got himself
that's
blocked.
right. I saw a posting in the Discord about him getting banned too, or suspended.
Then Camelot 331. Almost anybody now who's saying anything related to Eliza is getting this stuff shut down. So, I mean, this to me, the way I look at it, take Eliza Bleu out of this, substitute the words origins of COVID, substitute the words vaccine, side effects, any other subject you want. This isn't about, Eliza Bleu anymore. This is about free speech, because Twitter is reverting back to what they were before Elon got a hold of it. So where this is going to go, I mean, I agree with Fair and Balanced. I was watching a stream she did today. This thing is just getting rolling. If Eliza thinks that she can hole up behind some kind of internet wall and ride this thing out, she's not going to be able to do it. This is not going to stop until she actually comes out and addresses this.
Well, and that's what I was saying. It's way different from the Murphy situation, because Jack Murphy stuff, when everyone was railing on him, that was just his personal private life stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with Eliza is not everyone wants to know the truth, because this is a serious matter that a lot of people, I would say 99.9% of all people in the world are willing to go to jail for. Like fighting to keep kids safe and to keep people from being harmed in that manner. And when I saw that Chrissy posted that video, I think his name's Daniel.
Yeah.
And I genuinely felt bad for that guy, because you can tell he had a connection with Eliza that he actually cared about. And he was talking about, don't get litigious, because they'll get litigious back, and that could open up stuff and people might see stuff. And I felt bad, because I felt like he was saying, I don't want to know if there's worse stuff. And I feel like there are some people like that, but when it comes to something like that, people, if it is that bad, you absolutely have to call it out and you have to weed it out. And as far as I know, the Amanda woman, she's basically Twitter's new Yoel Roth.
No, that's Ella Irwin.
Oh, is it? Well,
yeah.
I know Eliza has pretty good connections with her.
Yes, that's also true. Amanda Jean is, I think, kind of a pseudo manager for Eliza, or maybe even a full on manager. But I think bookings are handled through her, and she is the one who I think has been coordinating primarily these false flag campaigns to get people kicked off of Twitter as well. And I mean, she's basically kind of Eliza's guard dog at this is kind of how I view it.
Yeah, I think
based on her behavior.
Yeah, I think Crash is right, because I was watching a snippet of an interview that Eliza did some time ago with someone named Katie Herzog, who's apparently a podcaster.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
this is when they got into that dispute about, hey, I didn't know you were going to ask me about my past, et cetera, and makes the comment, okay, then I'll talk to Amanda because she didn't tell me that you wanted to talk about this. So apparently, if this is referencing the same person, this Amanda Jean has been in Eliza Bleu's circle now for some time. Doing what, we're not quite sure, but yeah, I think it's the same person. So yeah, I
So
agree with you.
she's more of a handler
Yeah.
than anything, from what it sounds like.
Executive
Especially if
assistant,
she's
handler, yeah.
if she's making those kinds of decisions, it sounds like she's like a PR handler or brand handler or something like that. Which is,
Mhm.
seeing everything I've seen, I definitely think the reason she took the steps that she did and had the campaign organized against Venti to get her banned is because once stuff like that starts coming out, it is hurting her brand. And it seems like, from especially the video with her and Hotep, where she was basically s- I don't even know what to call it.
I
She
don't
was
know I don't know of a word for that. It's so
scummy,
gross.
slimy, definitely. Where she was like, "I'm not even getting any of these super chats. Like Hotep should give me 50%." And dude, that yeah, and it's like that on every, like, she wanted some money to
Uh-huh.
go on a trip. She wanted half the super chats. She's got to get the money for this and this and this, and it's always taking from, but not saying who it's going to. Like, it seems like the money's always going to her instead of going through her.
Mhm.
Like she's a middleman for a charity or an organization or something like that. And maybe that's just bad handling of communication on her part, but I feel like she would have brought some kind of receipts by now on that.
Well, and if this is for the protection of Eliza's brand, either that Amanda Jean is doing or that Eliza wants done herself, if this is for the protection of the brand, they're going about this bass backwards,
Mm,
because the more she stays quiet, the worse this is going to get. And it's like I said, justifiable feeding frenzy. Everybody's going to chew this thing right down to the bone. I mean, the way that, for example, Farron right now is working on a 4-part documentary about this because, and the reason
mm,
it's expanded out to 4 parts, people keep bringing her information. Hey, have you seen this? Have you heard about that? Did you look at this video? Are you aware of this situation? I mean, if it, and I genuinely feel this way about it. If Eliza Bleu genuinely wants to represent people who are survivors of human trafficking and do so with powerful advocacy, she has got to get in front of this thing. Forget her reputation. Lay that aside for the moment. Yes, she ought to come forward and talk about this for that reason too. But if in her heart of hearts, if she's genuinely all about the survivors of human trafficking, she needs to nip this thing in the bud and do it now before this gets worse. Because the longer this goes, the less credibility she's going to have. And it's going to get to the point where no one, I mean, she's going to talk, and what everybody's going to hear is blah, 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 blah,
mm.
blah. She's going to sound like the teacher from the Peanuts cartoons.
I mean, it may already be at that point, honestly. A lot of the
Yeah.
big creators in conservative media, whether they've talked about it or not, they know at this point.
Mhm.
They know. Tim Pool, I mean, I didn't watch it, so I don't know exactly what happened, but he did read at least one super chat that kind of acknowledged this whole situation. But I've yet to see him say anything about it. But
Well, even
they know, and so I mean, I think everybody's kind of on. Is going to be on guard in dealing with her already at this point.
and just Tim mentioning it was surprising to me, because usually he wouldn't even, like, when the Jack Murphy stuff happened, he wouldn't even acknowledge the super chats.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's acknowledged it, like, he's probably getting messages from people now, like,
Hmm.
about what's being found. Um, but yeah, the one thing that seems very grifty about her, now that I'm looking back at all these videos and stuff, everything she's ever done, like, and this ties into the branding. It's always about, I'm Eliza and I stand up for these people. Give me, and it's not, I'm Eliza. I work with these people to help these people. and we need your help. Like at
Yeah.
least then she could like have another face that's tied to her, or another company or charity or organization or activist group or something like that. And from what I've seen when I've seen her on, it's just her telling stories. It's not someone being with her telling stories that she's done. Like that's one thing I don't get either. If she's representing all these people, do none of these people want to come out and be public about what's going on and have their superstar advocate there with them? Um, that's something I'm stumped on. Like where are these people that she's helped out? And instead
Remember
of
the last time she was on Tim Pool, and she was claiming to actually be working with 2 victims from this
Andrew
Andrew
Tate.
Tate
Hmm.
thing.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't
something
know. It's curious.
something about that seemed off, because I felt like that was more of a talking point than it was, because it's what was hot, and she knew she'd get some views or clicks or interest on it or whatever. It didn't seem genuine. It seemed very forced, and she read off some prepared stuff. And I mean, maybe she really did know people who had issues with the Tates. A little bit more, especially with everything that's going on now. You got to bring some receipts now. And Farron is finding a lot of receipts very quickly. And it's going to be interesting in the next few weeks what she pulls out and lets everyone take a gander at.
Yeah. To go back to something you said, and I hadn't really thought about till you just brought it up. Anytime Eliza Bleu does a public speaking engagement, very rarely have I ever seen her tie it in to another charity or charitable organization and say, hey, if you're wanting to help survivors of human trafficking, here is fill in the blank, whatever name of the organization may be. Here's their website. Here's how you can contribute to help them out. I mean, I would understand it if Eliza doesn't or hasn't set up like a 501c3 of her own where she could do that without having to partner with someone else. I might understand that. Okay. Because that's a lot of logistical headache that, do you really want to be saddled with that, even though you're trying to do a good thing? So I can understand if she's not doing that. But there's never any mention of anybody else, ever. And that goes to something else. I mean, I think you gentlemen have both seen the tweets where back in March of 2020, she's announcing that, there's a survivor's house that she's set up for people to come to, etc.
Habitat house.
Yeah, like a habitat house.
Okay. Humanity house is what she calls
it. Yeah, humanity house. Well, and again, I don't need to know the location. Most people don't need to know the location, but that sort of begs the question, why can no one find any records of this? Because, I mean, you would think that she'd put it in Illinois, which is where her family is from. And I mean, that would make sense, but nobody can find any records about it. No one can find any, 501c3 paperwork that would have been filed with the IRS. There's nothing. So what is this thing exactly?
There is not a single post that I've seen anyways. She has over 2,500 posts on her locals, so it's possible I missed it, but you would think that after 2.5 years, where we had, so it was March 2020. I mean, over 2 years. It would have been, you would just see it multiple times asking for money for this humanity house.
Yeah.
Nothing. The only thing I've ever seen her raise money for was, the one that I saw that I showed to Chrissy was her vacation. This is literally within I didn't even realize this was literally within a month of her opening her locals. She just does this fundraiser and says, I need a break. And then there was the other one that Chrissy showed was and that was, or maybe it was Fair and Balanced. I don't remember, but it was to go to one of those Freedom Fest conferences to speak.
Yeah, that was July 2021, I think. June or July of 2021.
Yes.
And
that's it.
She didn't even did she even show to that one?
I believe she did.
Because I know they weren't sure.
Trying to remember. There's so much in this. Like it's all meshing in my brain now, where I
Well,
can't sort it out. I believe that she did. She wasn't on the list of speakers on the flyers because those were already like done, and she was kind of a last minute ad.
Mhm.
But I do believe that people. I think this came from Fair and Balanced stream. I believe it's witnesses have said that yeah, she did show up. And something about there was mention that she may have been upset that she wasn't shown on the speaker list.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I really hope that's not true.
Yeah.
I
So
really
that's just
do.
speculation because obviously that's even more than hearsay. That's actually third person because somebody told Farron and then Farron we heard through the stream, right?
Yeah.
well, one good point that Farron did bring up is how, because prior to pandemic stuff, she was doing all these reality shows. She was doing she did the video. She was on doing America's Got Talent and all this social media stuff. And uh, then when all that got shut down because of the pandemic, a month later, that's when she started all this advocacy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
speculation, but she speculates it's because everything started drying up because Hollywood came to a screeching halt and only certain people were allowed to even do anything. So I thought that was a little interesting because the
I remember when
timing.
I first caught notice of her, it wasn't Michael Malice's Locals.
Yeah, so go back because you were doing the history. She was on Michael Malice's show and she was talking about I think you said someone was talking using her.
Using her image.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially just identity theft. And Michael Malice even called that out, but uh, didn't push back much beyond that. Um, I mean, I don't fault him much for that because I would have been
Yeah,
confused too. You know,
it's the
it's
golden
like okay,
calf. It's like
right,
you don't want to attack something that uh people are
right,
reluctant to attack something that most people consider a horrible thing to attack.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
So I guess what I am confused on because I haven't seen everything, all of her interviews. Because yeah, that's just one story she's given. She's given, like I said, two other stories where she was literally sold. She says that she was sold for $500 the first time. Very specific detail.
Mm.
That was when she was underage. Uh, Now, I didn't know that it was that she has said other things. When I first heard it, I heard that it was a photographer that trafficked her, but I have heard that she has also said that it may have been like a famous athlete or a musician. So I don't know. I need to kind of see those like a compilation of the times where she's kind of hinted at what kind of person it could be, and it's been different every time. I'd be curious to see that.
Good, Front Porch.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to wonder, and I blame nobody on this because frankly, everybody, as far as I'm concerned, everybody got fooled. They really did. I mean, I remember the first time I came across Eliza Bleu was when she did a sidebar interview with Viva Fry and Barnes. And that's when I first heard her story. And then she started popping up on Tim Pool and a few other places. And I'm wondering, and I'm not saying this is true of everybody, because, for example, I know Adam Krigler's had her on the show before. And
Mm.
now Adam's in a position where he's having to say, hey, this is wrong. What she's doing is wrong. But I'm starting to wonder if guys like Tim Pool and other major, quote, conservative media or internet people aren't speaking out about this yet with real full voice because they're like, I can't believe I got duped by this woman. I feel like I
Yeah.
got played. I mean, I remember I was watching a real late night thing that Chrissy did. I think it was Thursday night where she had Farron on,
Mm.
and Chrissy's like, I really feel bad. I was like, and Farron brought up a very valid point. She's like, Chrissy, you and other people who are in the podcasting sphere or, have, online channels, it's not your job to vet this lady as thoroughly as people who are trained to do it. You know, she comes here, she has a story, she's telling it to you, you're listening, you guys are engaging, you're having a rapport. No, But when she starts dealing with people like Dr. Drew, because he's got the staff to do it, and others, at that point, some of this stuff should start popping up before now. It's rather curious in one sense, and I'm not trying to say anything one way or the other, but it's just amazing that one ignored and badly treated question has led to all of this. If she simply answers Brittany Venti's tweet, even if you don't agree with the answer, even if you don't like the answer, at least at that point, it's an answer, and this thing doesn't get the legs that it does and start running down the track. The other thing that I find really encouraging out of all this is, let's hear it for grassroots journalism, because it is amazing. And maybe it's just something I've never really paid attention to until now, but it's just amazing how this issue is just bringing people's talent, ingenuity, investigativeness, curiosity to the front. And now you've got people, whether it's here, whether it's, Farron, whether it's, DeFango, anybody. It's amazing that, grassroots journalism is just taking over this thing, because I'll make an argument. What folks are doing online right now, by way of having a computer, a keyboard, and access to the internet, CNN, MSNBC, any mainstream, if they even choose to touch the issue, could not do what citizen journalists, what grassroots journalists are doing right now. And to me, that is wonderful to watch. I mean, it's a shame it has to be this issue dealing with, touching on the edges of human tragedy. But it is encouraging to see that, that sort of curiosity, that sort of willingness to say, hey, this is what we think. Here's the perspective we're coming from. I am tickled to death with that. Absolutely. It's amazing to watch what's going on.
I think another positive that I hope kind of comes out of this is it's not just her grifting in the conservative media space, and it's also in the human trafficking space. It's the like the Eve's Angels. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? One of these organizations, these survivor advocate organizations. The founder, who has been, I think, between Amanda Jean and the founder of this organization, her name's Annie, starts with a D. I already forget, but are the ones who've been standing up for Eliza. I believe they were in that Twitter space where she was like addressing the rumors of her story. And it has come out now that she was sued by her family because the story that she put out there, it was allegedly a human trafficking survivor, and she blamed her family. She said it was her family that did it. Her parents and her brother sued her $50,000 and won.
This is the head of Eve's Angels you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
But she is still out there. That organization is still out there. You can donate to it today. And I'm just wondering, like, how many organizations are out there that really aren't doing anything?
Yeah, they're just
other than they tweet every once, they tweet every day, but it's like how many people are actually grifting off this space? It's obviously it's not just going to be just Eliza Bleu.
True. Yeah,
and I'm kind of hopeful that this can. I'm hoping that this can be more probing. And I remember I specifically asked Farron today if she was going to do any digging on Eve's Angels with this 4-part documentary, and she said yes. So I'm intrigued to see what she finds out about that woman, about that organization, and anybody else that's involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would really be interesting to know.
Well, I did a quick Google search, and there's a lot of, like, the case text on that is out there. So there's definitely a lot of information on it in the public sphere.
Yeah, I have a bookmark somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, Donwald versus Donwald. Actually, let me open up the PDF. I can share it. Although we're not lawyers, I don't know if we really want to read through.
Are you talking about the case text file? Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, you already got it up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no, this is just it looks like this is just for awarding plaintiff fees and the amount of 5,000 for contempt of court.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe I should have read this before I talked about it.
Because it looks like they failed to appear on a lot of the issues or a lot of the dates. Yeah, because they says they hadn't complied with the subpoena yet because they were still producing documents. So they kept adjourning and postponing, and she didn't show up for some of the dates.
Yeah. Thus, the contempt finding was not for refusing to sign a settlement or for failing to appear at one particular hearing. Rather, it was for repeatedly failing to appear at hearings and repeatedly failing to comply with subpoena for documents despite many months and ample opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of clears it up. So there was actually no judgment on the case itself, but sometimes silence speaks volumes. When you don't show up, that's not the same as pleading the fifth. Because when you plead the fifth, you still show up. You still have your attorney, present statement, facts about your case. This is just not participating.
Yeah, and that's
trying to put your head in the sand. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Eliza's one of her biggest, if not her biggest sin right now. It's just you're stonewalling. There's no other way of saying it. That's what you're doing. You're stonewalling by silence, and that's not a defense. That's just lack of participation, and that, in the court of public opinion, that is not going to help you with anybody. Even if you've got a legitimate explanation for this stuff at this point, you should have immediately come forward with it. I mean, like I say, if there has been legitimate trafficking that affected her life adversely in the past, okay, that's fine. That's your story. I don't need to know the details. But, absent that, you've got to start explaining some of this stuff, because people are finding all kinds of videos, speeches, interviews, and they're putting it together and they're like, this is not adding up. This makes no sense in light of what you're saying publicly.
Well, just her origin story and how it seems like was it the Pink news video or one of the videos that Farron linked the other night? She alluded very heavily to the fact that she was a prostitute, and because she talked about how she was in the life.
And we didn't have a term for that back then. That's the phrase that catches interest. It's like, we. I'm like, well, what do you mean we? What's this we you keep talking about?
Yeah. And so this is where my speculation comes in. Is I'm black pilled about this whole situation because it seems like to me, it seems like it was who was it? Was it Cardi B, the one who drugged and robbed men?
Believe it was, yes, if I remember correctly.
So it seems like she's kind of a different flavor of that, but she doesn't want to admit what she used to do, so she's trying to take the survivor's way out of it by claiming to be a survivor. Because, well, the video that Brittany, the image that Brittany posted the video from, totally public, not privated, owned by a public corporation, put out on a public platform 6 years ago. Not again, and this is something I asked Farron, and I actually emailed World Star Hip Hop to see if I could get an answer, which I highly doubt I'm going to. But one of the things that would be interesting to know is why they pulled the video. Like, did they come to find out that yes, she was under duress at that time, and it was a non-consensual video from her end, Was there legal persuasion for it? Did someone from a big corporation flex some muscle, or did somebody pay to get it pulled off? Because I guarantee with the amount of traffic that video got just because of everything that's blowing up and the linking to it that Brittany and Quartering did, and several other people, there's no way they would have just pulled it down and not taken in that ad revenue.
Well, I'd agree with that. Well, and there's one more thing about that video that, you guys have probably seen this, but for folks out there who are watching who haven't, um, Frank Pellegrino, who I tell you what, my respect for that dude is just going up through the roof all the time. He retweeted, and if I can find it real fast because I'm looking, he retweeted a pair of audio clips from an interview that Eliza knows gave a few years ago, and it's quite obvious from listening to the audio. It's Eliza Bleu. I mean, I'd almost be shocked if it wasn't. But at any rate, she's discussing that very video, the one that's at the center of all this, that got all this started, and she's admitting, she is absolutely admitting, I reached out to World Star Hip Hop. She says, I emailed their website, then I friended their CEO on Instagram, and then reached out to him. And between 6:30 a.m. and 10:30 that morning, by 10:30 a.m., we're in negotiations for the shooting of the video.
Yeah, I remember that audio clip now.
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
Well, the one I saw was the video where she's actually on the phone talking to her mom, bragging about making the video and saying that she's proud of it and that it was a step in the right direction, and it's another piece of the puzzle that's fallen into place.
Yeah, and I for what it's worth, I put a tweet out to, Ella Irwin and Twitter support, and I said, look, you're banning people on the argument that what they're posting is pictures, images that were obtained in a non-consensual manner. Well, if this woman in this audio clip is indeed Eliza Bleu, and any reasonable person can come to that conclusion on their own, if she's freely admitting that I'm the one that engaged with World Star Hip Hop, I'm the one that reached out to them directly to initiate all this. And in that same interview, she says, I'm proud of what we did. Hey, the CEO, he's an angel. He doesn't know how much he's meant to me and all this. It's taken everything to another level. I mean, quite obviously, she's satisfied with the results thereof. And she couldn't have been too upset because, like you guys have said, this video has been out there now for almost 7 years. Okay. If Twitter, and this is the one angle another angle to this thing, if Twitter is trying to claim that we can ban individuals on the basis of the fact that they are spreading around content that is non-consensual to the person involved and done without their consent, that whole argument falls apart on the basis of that audio clip. You cannot even say that anymore.
Well, shoot. Dang it, I had a really good point. It was right on the tip of my tongue and it slipped.
All right, what do you think about that? Oh, go ahead.
Well, so granted that and the allusion to her being in the game of prostitution, my speculation, just my opinion, I think she conflates a lot of prostitute activities with trafficking. Like, I think she considers her, like when she says she was trafficked online, I would not be surprised. And again, this is speculation. If it comes out that she meant my escort services I offered online was me being online trafficked. And that to me does, people like that, because I unfortunately I have dealt with people like that in my life. Oh, we've lost front porch. But yeah, so I've dealt with people like that in my life, And once, there we go.
Hey, he's back.
Okay.
Once this kind of people get found out, that's whenever they pull the big guns. They want you out of their life. They want you away from everyone that they know, everyone they're associated with. They start lying about you. They start running their mouth. They start raising this big wall, and they try to get you taken out of the picture because they don't want the fucking truth found out.
Yeah.
And I 100% believe that's what's happening right now. I think, to me, it seems like she is she kind of took a Tate approach to the business that she's doing by just getting her name out there as an advocate for survivors. Like, she just made it a social media thing. If you're talking about trafficking, then this name is associated with it. Because plenty of people have asked, like, it's a simple question: what work have you done? And don't get me wrong, like, just being an advocate, that's totally admirable. Standing up for people, trying to help people out, that's great. But to be this huge figurehead of such a massive social cause and not have any accolades other than I help people, like, what did you do? Like,
Yeah.
anything? Like, which charities did you work with? Who are some of the people that you've been associated? It doesn't even have to be the trafficking survivors themselves. Like,
Right. It
just
could be
the organizations they went through. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
those people, they don't just go and call up Eliza Bleu and say, "Hey, I need your help." Most of these people are found through organizations that they already work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, she can't, beyond advocacy, which I'm not saying it's not important, it is, but beyond advocacy, she can't point to one specific thing or individuals. Even if she wants to change names, fine, but you can't give us any concrete details or evidences of the work you're doing. You're saying, I'm standing on my soapbox and I am advocating. Great. And the results are what exactly?
Yeah, it's no different than climate activists throwing tomato soup on a painting.
Yeah.
Hey,
You really
look at
want
the
to keep
work I
going?
did. What work? You yelled a lot and made a scene. Like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes that is a great start point for something. It
Mhm.
should have evolved into something else by now.
Yeah.
She should have her humanity house that
Yeah, it's been a
is
couple
big and
years at
main.
this point.
Yeah, it should be big and mainstream and floating everywhere on every social media platform, or organizations that she started, or organizations that she's associated with that are working towards certain goals. And there's nothing. It the more I look into this stuff, it pisses me off,
Mhm.
because if it is all a big sham and she's just doing this for a brand and herself, and not giving a very minuscule amount to the actual cause, that's trashy. That's absolutely trashy. And she's hurting more people than she's helping, if that's really the case. Because what if she is lying about everything? Think about how much money she's gotten from people, and that money could have actually went to people who actually needed the help or were going through serious situations.
I mean, with the amount of support that she's garnered, she could have had the Humanity House could have been like a huge thing. Such a
Yeah,
such a shame that to just find out 3 years later it's might not even be there. In fact, it seems likely it's just not there. A lot of people would have donated to that, and or
especially given
people would
her
have volunteered,
connections.
and it could have been such a big and awesome project.
No,
So,
absolutely. And that sort of begs, and to go to your point, that's also begs a question. It just made me think of it. Okay, March 2020 to now, so we're talking almost 3 years. If she's got the kind of connections that we all seem to think she has, I mean, lay aside Elon. I mean, this woman has probably talked to heads of companies, CEOs, that sort of thing. Why are we not hearing about anybody making major charitable contribution to this project? I mean, yeah, you would expect Eliza Bleu to say something about it, but if for no other reason than for corporate PR, you would hear a press release saying we've donated $50,000 to Eliza Bleu's Humanity House. Nobody's heard anything, or maybe we just haven't found it yet. I will even lay open that possibility, but there's nothing out there to that effect. And it's like Crash said, you would think that this kind of a project is something that companies would want to be involved with. This is something they would want to do, if for no other reason, good public relations.
Yep. It's definitely a brand boost for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge. It would be massive.
Mm-hmm.
And so another thing that strikes me odd is she claims in some of her posts, she claims to work with 20 cases a week, these different people, and during the pandemic she added 60 per week and all this stuff, and she works tirelessly and she's giving all her time to this, but she wants you to pay for her vacation. Like, to me, that doesn't, there's a mismatch there, because people who are actually charitable like that and want to do the right things, they don't go begging people for money so they can go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
They do what they can. They feel better helping people out than they do helping themselves.
Yeah.
And she has proven that she has no problem helping herself, especially if you'll give her the money for it.
Yeah, I'll agree with
I want
that.
to divert us a bit from rage and perhaps bring in some humor. If you want to share what I got going, Flagrant.
Oh yeah. There we go.
All right. I mean, this first one's still a little bit of anger, but we'll get more to the humor part. But shout out to Grifty. He's been going at Eliza a lot. I mean, like I said, I just got back on social media today after my New Year's resolution of a detox for 4 weeks. I'm actually ending it a day early, but that's fine. But Eliza's still posting as if nothing's wrong. 5 men guilty in conspiracy to distribute child or CSAM. An article via the Department of Justice. Grifty, what part did you play in those convictions, or is tweeting about it what you call advocacy? Hashtag Eliza Murphy. Yeah.
That's one thing I thought about earlier, like because we were talking about how we don't see her tied to any organizations, but she's always linking stories from other organizations.
Right. That's what I want to get to, is that when I was combing through her stuff, I realized I feel like that's all she actually does, is she just posts stories on her timeline and in her locals. That's largely it.
Yeah, she's like the Drudge Report of anti-human trafficking. Yeah.
Right. I mean, with the exception, there's also just some public speaking events. Yeah. Okay. So next one. This one broke my brain. I've read this multiple times and I still don't get it. I almost want to start a new conspiracy theory that she's actually a guy.
If she's a guy, that was some really good surgery. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
Yeah. I think maybe it was her attempt at digging at the guy or girl who was responding, "Stop using trans people as your battering ram," or whatever. I think he was trying to own, and it just kind of fell flat on his face. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, so take out trans and put in trafficking victims.
Well, hold on, no, take out trans and put in just take out trans.
Anything. Yeah.
And just leave it. Tweeting this would imply that I'm not a sex worker myself. Like, the response, it just doesn't make any sense. It was really a failed response, whatever she was trying to get across. Okay, now we're gonna get a little bit more funny. Shout out to Chrissy Mayer, funniest ginger woman I know. I was trafficked on Foursquare. And then a fun response. I was trafficked on Photo Bucket. Love it.
I've got a theory about Eliza and all these non-addressing posts of hers. And fellas, feel free to chime in on this. You can tell me I'm full of crap if you want to. To me, it looks like what she's doing For any of her supporters who are not aware of this situation, which I kind of have a hard time buying that, but okay, maybe. For people who aren't aware of what's going on right now, she's trying to put posts out there like nothing's wrong, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, you know,
Yep.
I want you over here looking at this so you don't be over here looking at that,
Yep.
None except for the one post where she was talking about threatening litigation. She's acting like nothing's happening,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't understand that play at all. Because
Well,
I'm sorry, this isn't going to poof.
well,
Well,
but
let's go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it doesn't make sense to us because if either of us were in that situation, we know how we would act because one, we wouldn't be putting ourselves in that kind of situation through lies. But imagine if you've lied for 2.5 years about being a human trafficking survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the whole thing is just smoke and mirrors. There's nothing there. What kind of response do you come up with? What do you do? I mean, Front Porch, you've said multiple times that she needs to get out ahead of this. But can you when you got to confess? You got to confess a sin, and a pretty big one because it's been going on for a long time, and you've told this lie over and over and over again, and multiple versions of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it may be a thing that it may be a thing where it's like you said earlier, we're past the point of her ability to get out ahead of this thing. It might be a thing where she's just trying to catch up with it. And the problem now is it's gotten so far down the track and the feeding frenzy is on that it doesn't matter in one sense what she says, which I still think she should, but it's not going to matter a whole lot because everybody's in the digging phase. Everybody's looking, everybody's asking, everybody's investigating. She could put out a statement now, which might limit some of the damage or might, in all honesty, might, give explanation to this stuff, that might be plausible. But it's gotten so far down the track, she may not be able to catch up with this thing. She may not be able to get ahead of it. And to go back to something that Cam was bringing up, the one time that she addressed this, you could even make an argument that even that was her setting the table for her supporters. Because remember how she phrased it, I'm only going to address this once.
Yeah.
And then she never talks about it again, which to me, it could very well be she in her mind's like, okay, I've got to set this up in such a way that I don't have to address this anymore. So I'm just going to be pardon my French, bad bitch. And I'm going to drop a hammer in the middle of the table. And that is going to have enough impact that people who are supporters of mine, they're not going to pay attention to this anymore because they're just going to say, oh, you guys are a bunch of mean-spirited people. You're just trying to bring Eliza down. You're just against the girl, whatever. And that way she can be like, okay, I can still craft the narrative with the people who are supporting me. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not a matter of that she doesn't want to. She can't anymore. In my opinion, she can't. She cannot stop this. There's nothing she can say right now unless she just comes out and she drops a Twitter files level dump of information disproving everything.
Yeah, it would have to be massive. Just massive.
And it's
she'd
not
have
going
to
happen.
address every single thing.
Dude,
like at what point, like which parts line up with where she was like under duress because she was being trafficked, and which things were just consensual, which is what I would have expected. It's like nobody really cares that she was shaking her booty in the music video if that was in her past. The problem is the timing of it. It was published around the time where she has claimed to have been trafficked. And so it's just like, were you under duress when you did this? Because there are videos also that say that kind of hint otherwise. Were you under duress for those videos? Did they make you put out that video to say that you were happy that this came out? In which case, I guess that's effectively naming your abusers at that point because we kind of know who's involved with some of these videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On some level, at least we know who's starting them on some of the rap videos that she's danced in.
Yeah.
I
So yeah,
don't.
I will say this though, like if you've never read the book, Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, is really great. My favorite rule is rule number 4. Always tell the truth, or at the very least, don't lie.
Yeah.
And I think in any situation that is going to give you, even if it doesn't get you out of the situation, it is going to give you the best results from that point forward. That if you continue to lie or continue to omit information or just not address it, you're just digging yourself deeper. So I still agree with you from Porch that the sooner she can say something, the better it's going to be for her. But I do think we are past the point where she can possibly make a net positive from it.
Yeah, I think we're right. I really do. Because I mean, I used to volunteer or work in campaigns in another lifetime ago, and I grew up under what was called the old Atwater rule, which was named after the late Lee Atwood, who was the legendary chairman of the Republican Party nationally. And Atwater had a rule. He said, if someone lays a charge against you, you answer it fast, you answer it powerfully, and you answer it with enough force to kill it. But the first part of that is you answer it fast. I mean, I can remember the 1988 campaign when Lee was still chairman of the Republican Party nationally. I mean, and his people were obviously coordinating with Herbert Walker Bush's people, their campaign staff, and Michael Dukakis, who was the Democratic nominee at the time, would lay down a charge against, Poppy Bush, and in less than 24 hours, they had this thing turned around and they threw it right back over the net to Dukakis's people and be like, "Oh yeah, try that." And, I'm not saying Eliza's got to answer it within 24 hours, but she's got to answer it, and we're past the point of her answering it fast. So now it's like, limit the damage, do what you can do, but you got to do something.
Well, and another thing this shows too is that if you've got the persuasion and the connections, you can get away with stuff because Elon could easily have stepped in and been like, okay, yeah, this is a public video, and sorry, that's not a. I mean, even Twitter self-flagged the statement that she made, saying this clip is from a public video. It is from a public video that was made years ago, and says it. As far as the non-consensual stuff, it completely cut it out.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre that is on that tweet, and yet still people are banned. And then there are smaller creators that have gotten in on this that have also been banned. I don't have their names, but I've seen a couple of videos pop up where they've talked about, like, it's not just Jeremy from the Quartering and Brittany Venti. There are small creators which are easy targets that are getting hit with this.
Well, I'm wondering if getting the video pulled down is part of some half-assed plan to where she could say, well, it was non-consensual. But you can't retroactively apply that to something that gets pulled down afterward, after the ban had already happened. Like, so the video was public when they were posting the images, and then you get it pulled down a week and a half later. Like, it still doesn't retroactively make it non-consensual before that, or non-public before that point. Like, moving forward from the removal date, sure, you could say that video should not be out there. It's contains images that I do not want made public, and I do not give consent. But sorry, before that, go ahead.
Oh, on this whole thing about it being non-consensual, this still doesn't warrant what Twitter has done. Because these were asked in good faith. The questions were asked in good faith.
Yeah, and
like, all Eliza had to do was just say that, hey, I didn't actually consent to those. Could you please take them down? She didn't bother to ask. She's using the force of a corporate ban hammer to get her way, as opposed to just saying, hey, giving people the benefit of the doubt. Brittany was very kind in her tweet to her. Just asking a simple question. As far as Brittany was concerned, we've always been on good terms, but I can't DM her. I don't have any other contact info. She just gently just asked, hey, can you give some sort of clarification on what's on this? Because it's very confusing. and just hitting it with the banhammer? What?
Well,
There's no way that that's warranted. Just on a personal level, like it's not like the people like were coming at her are trolls and trying to get her deplatformed or anything. No, these were people that have considered her an associate, in some cases friends, like in the case of Adam Krigler and others. And yeah, she's just burning bridges left and right. Like she's going full scorched earth. It's just
well, and to go back to add on to what you were saying, keep in mind with Brittany's original question, it wasn't even the video that she posted. It was just a screenshot. That's
right.
it. That nothing else, just the screenshot. And to further add on to what you said, it's in part the reaction to the question that makes everybody sit there and go, huh? I mean, it's like you said,
Right.
she's pulling out the ban hammer and just smacking everybody's Twitter page over the top of the head with it. You know, whereas if she just even if Eliza Bleu gave a snarky answer and didn't do that part, all right, you might not like the snarky answer, but at least it would seem measured appropriateness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was snarky in how I answered this question, but I answered it with the appropriate amount of force needed to address this and move on. No, she went full, drop the hammer on everybody with this thing. And that, the reaction and how Brittany brought this issue up is a lot of what, is the fuel in the engine to this thing that got started.
Yeah. I think Brittany smelled bullshit 100%. And I think she just wanted to get she did go about it in very casual, not hey, what's up, Rob? A very casual, non-aggressive manner. But given that thread and some of the stuff that was just tied into that, because she's always been pretty good at the internet detective stuff and smelling when something's off. What we got here, Crash?
So yeah, Frank found another zinger today. The memes on this thing, like it gets better like the further that I go in this presentation. It's but yeah. So yeah, found out who was using Eliza's pictures to catfish people.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. He added this one today. We figured it out, gang. All right. Let's see who the trapper is.
Oh my gosh.
See, now this makes, because Frank and Chrissy have been going hard at this, and they've been talking with Farron too, and that makes me think they've found out a lot more than people realize. Like, because usually, especially Frank's very measured, and he doesn't say something unless he knows something. From what I've seen, he 100% calls out bullshit, but something like that, I don't think he would post that unless he knew like something's up.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, usually I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't, obviously you guys might know Frank better than I do. I just know from what I see and hear, he's usually he's got an even keel. I mean, it takes a lot to just get his blood going. This one's got him going real good, and understandably so. I mean, friends of his, I mean, on a personal level, and if I'm misinterpreting intentions or emotion, he can always correct me anytime he wants to. But friends of his are getting hurt by this. An issue that, everybody, regardless of where you're at on the political spectrum, an issue that everybody can agree on is going to be adversely affected by this woman's actions. I can understand why he's throwing down on this one. I absolutely understand.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were like, I really hope that they just just relax and let it go soon. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to let this one go until it's done, because they have kicked the hornet's nest. Like, Chrissy and Frank are very genuine people, and they take their friendships, they hold their friendships in high regard. They're not just going to watch Brittany get railroaded like this and not like get to the bottom of what's actually happening as far as the truth is concerned.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just, yeah, it's just, and it's like you said, I think you're the best way to describe it. Hornet's nest. You know, Eliza kicked over one that this one's going to come back to sting her and pretty daggone hard. What's this?
Oh my God.
Financially off of victims and survivors, you are a predator. Circa September 16th, 2020.
Oof.
I've got more. I've got so many.
Frank,
don't share pics of my music videos. Heartfelt.
Frankie P, you the man. You the man.
Yeah, shout out to Frank. Shout out to
Filing Cabinet. We love you. Speaking of, get your I Heart Filing Cabinet shirt on Flagrant Triggers.
Yes, a perfect segue opportunity.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which, by the way, I see the Marvel t-shirts in the background. Those things look really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, so you see the white ones?
Not really, but I'll take your word for it that they're there. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me grab one.
And by the way, fellas, I've got to confess to something here. My workhorse of a laptop has had my images frozen on my computer, so I can hear you guys. I can't see anything beyond that. I am, for the past half an hour, I've been bluffing my way through this. So. But I mean, since we're to this point, it's like, hey, you see the white t-shirts? No, not really. You know, it's like, okay, it's time to come clean. I see what you're putting up there, but as far as like everybody's cameras, we're all been frozen for the past half an hour. So it's like, okay, bluff your way through this, dude. You can do it. Come on, man. You got this.
Do you wanna pop out and pop back in?
Yeah, let me step out. Yeah, let me step out of the studio. I'll come back in here in just 1 second.
Okay.
All right, be back.
Dude, that I gotta put my meme up.
Yeah, if you want to switch over to your meme. I still got 7 more.
Yeah, I got to. Because now we're getting into the fun times.
See the naked ladies. Actually, in that video, on YouTube, it was not age restricted at all. But you can clearly see Eliza's nipples in a few shots in that World Star Hip Hop video.
Oh yeah, you can totally see her boobs. Yeah, there's no question about that. Where did I guess I'll just look on, because I'm having trouble finding my meme now. We'll wait for Front Porch to get back. Let's
go to the next one while he's getting back in. Shout out to Welsh. Never go full Jack Murphy.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's so crazy that Jack Murphy is like the meme for grifters now. It's like it's always going to be him because of his iconic beard.
Yes, that is true. That is true. All right, I'm just gonna have to go to
no catfish, just skankfish.
Dang, where is it at?
I'm wondering if Front Porch is.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's alive and animated again. This is great.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Flagrant has a meme he wants to insert. Okay, while you're looking for that, I'll go to the next one.
I got it right here.
Oh, Okay, go ahead.
Let's see.
Yes.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this hypocrisy and this hypocrisy.
They're the same hypocrisy.
Oh,
Oh, that's good. That's
bravo. Bravo.
All right, so this is the white ones.
Okay.
So the Marvel lettering on inside the red box is supposed to be white and not black.
Oh.
So I'm waiting on them to fix that.
Okay.
So we're thinking about adding some variants for like some giveaways or something at a meetup or something.
That'd be a good idea. It's a real good idea.
I'll have to email the people who got the white and let them know it'll be a few more days just to get them replaced. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be and get to package all these beautiful things and get them sent out.
All right.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun Sunday. Well, you can watch some football while you're doing it. I mean, there's that advantage.
Oh, man, I stopped watching football a long time ago.
Well, then turn on the radio. I mean, just speaking for myself, I've always found that, like, especially when it comes to football, listening to a game on the radio is sometimes better than actually watching it because your mind has to see what's going on the field. You know.
God, this is gonna sound pathetic. I was talking to Crash about it last night. There's this YouTube channel called Wrestling Bios, and he goes back when Nitro and Raw were big on cable TV.
Yeah.
And he puts them head to head and compares them, like which show was better for that night. And I'm going because I used to watch it all the time as a little kid at my mom's, and I'm going back through and catching up on all the storylines and stuff. And it's a 100% guilty pleasure thing because I know it's fake as crap. I am amazed though at sometimes with some of the moves that they pull out. Like if they pull off that a really smooth, like I really liked Randy Orton, even though I never watched wrestling in that era because of, what was it called, the RKO? No,
RD3 or RKO, the RKO.
Yeah, I think it was the RKO.
Yeah,
but dude, he was so smooth doing that every single time.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Like,
so next.
Survivor trafficking story. Oh. How true is that? How true is that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is so good.
Consensual content. I'm being trafficked.
Wow. Oh, here's
Shout out to Frank for this one.
Oh, these are good.
Did we see the clues?
Do you see the clues? If you don't,
do you see the clues?
Wow.
Holy shit.
There's 3 specific ones in this shot.
Yes, yes there are.
Bravo.
I love this one. First time.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's great. That's absolutely great. Wow. I love.
Dude, this is so on point.
So on point. Hold on, my favorite is my favorite's the last one. I saved my favorite for the last. This is gonna make y'all are gonna die.
Oh. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I died when I saw this. This is so good. Oof. Whoever created this meme, you are the meme god for this thing.
I don't know if any of this
stuff recalling this situation.
I don't know if any of this stuff comes from the Legion of Memers, but man, it's got that kind of quality to it. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah. So I guess to wrap up, man, what do you guys think happens from here?
Crash, I'll let you take this one first.
So I'm predicting. I think she's not going to address it. I think this is just going to. She's going to just slowly kind of fade into irrelevance eventually. I just kind of have that feeling. That's what Jack Murphy is still kind of doing. He's pretending like it didn't happen. I will say that he at least made poor attempts to address it. So it'll be interesting to see the backlash on if she does just continue to not address it. How will the backlash be versus Jack Murphy? Or I would be interested to see if she does get pushed to the point where, okay, I got to say something. Is she gonna lie? Will she come clean? Or will there be like this really low chance of, at least it seems, that she actually has a story that puts it all together and doesn't make her out to be a lying grifter? I mean, given the way things have gone for the past couple of years, nothing's out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. But if it does, it is what it is. So, I mean, that she's just gonna be like not touchable. Like you don't see Jack Murphy showing up on any podcast in at least mainstream conservative media, and even in like the lesser stream. I don't know where. I mean, I don't follow him. Does anybody know what he's up to? Does
I'm
he show
still
up?
blocked
Does
by him.
anybody? That's right.
Yeah.
That was
Do you
worth
remember?
it. That was so
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, that's one of my prouder memes. I put a little bit of work into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like Crash. I don't see her addressing this. She's gonna continue to stonewall, and the worst part about it is, if what's coming out next week is what I think is coming out, and I'm not even talking about Farron, I'm talking about, there's some shells being loaded into the 16-inch guns on the electronic battleships, and they're about to turn loose with the ammunition. I mean, it's going to come down hard and heavy next week. I just don't see her. It's like I said, even if she releases a statement now, and she should, it's not going to get her back to where this was before she dropped the hammer on Brittany's tweet and started all this. She's got long-term damage out of this as far as credibility. And the tragedy of it is, regardless of what anybody thinks of her personally, professionally, in her advocacy work or anything else, it's the people that she is advocating for who in the long run are going to be hurt. Because Farron brought up a really good point today, and I think it was Brittany who actually started this point. One of the things that survivors of human trafficking or sex trafficking have to deal with is that no one believes them. They're not given the credibility that their stories deserve, because no one would do that to you. No one would. No, no. And now you've got a person who is advocating on their behalf, and you're discovering that their credibility may or may not be as strong as it should be. And how does that, and the issue is going to become, how does that roll back on the survivors of human trafficking? It's not going to do to their advantage. It will not bode well for them. It's going to be one of the long-term tragedies out of all this, regardless of how it settles out.
And on another note, what do you guys predict will happen on the Twitter ban front? Do you think Twitter makes a shift and actually fixes this, or are we getting stuck with it, or are we really just discovering that it's old Twitter with new management now, and that's what we gotta live with?
So as far as the Twitter thing, yeah, because Elon's already shown that his personal bias will drive his actions. Like, don't get me wrong, he's done more to expose the just sheer amount of how much of our day-to-day interactions, lives, entertainment, social media goings on are controlled by corporations, the government, and entities who don't give a shit about us. Like that, I think that was very important that he pointed out that stuff. People don't care though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, the answer about the Twitter bans is going to be dependent upon how much pressure the upper management at Twitter feels. Not that I'm excusing his inaction at this point, but I could see where he's handing off decisions like this to Ella Irwin. Okay, you're my lieutenant. You deal with this. To me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to undermine or discount anything that anybody has done to this point. Farron, Chrissy, Frank, everybody who's brought every tweet to the front door, Twitter, that they can bring, all that pressure needs to continue. But to me, I think that somebody walks into somebody's office and says, what the hell's going on, when all of a sudden Bloomberg, Forbes, Fortune, major mainstream publications start looking at Twitter and saying, what's going on with this stuff? People are getting banned because they're asking a question. What are you guys doing here? I thought this stuff ended when Elon took over. I think that kind of pressure is going to go a long way toward helping the situation. But when the bans get lifted, I have no way of being able to tell yet. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, well, I guess they kind of tie together. As far as Eliza is concerned, I think best case scenario for her right now is she winds up in a perpetual world of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And she just does like cringy real life drama stuff or small time channel stuff or something like that. But if this turns into a nasty here's the truth fest, she is going to be absolutely eviscerated.
Yeah.
And I think like you were talking about how she should respond. I honestly, given everything and the way things are sounding, I think she's working on an exit strategy. That would be my guess, because if she was in this game and in that world, she knows eventually one day the piper comes a calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be surprised if her and her team are just working on an exit strategy to save as much face as they can and try to get out as unscathed as they can. But if it's nasty, then who knows? Like if she took part in something that would, or well, just fraud alone is enough to get her in some serious trouble. I don't think she'll ever be taken seriously again. Just like Jack Murphy, a lot of people like Crash was saying when you were gone, he's become the forever meme of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And just self-deluding and trying to run away from who you are and what you do. So yeah, I don't see anything good for her coming, which I don't at this point. I don't really care. I think she deserves everything she gets right now. Because this should have been an open and shut thing.
Yeah.
I was talking to Crash a few days ago. It's like, well, if she did the video and it's a big nothing burger, and she could have just came out and said, yeah, I did it because I'm not going to let what happened to me control the fact that I'm proud of who I am and my sexuality and being a woman. Mm-hmm. But I think whenever she saw people were digging into stuff, it hit a panic button. So yeah, I see this. Yeah, I'm really, really, really going to be watching to see what Farron comes out with. And yes. I'm sure Chrissy and Frank and everyone's going to blow it out of the water. And I think on the Twitter front, maybe that will change some policy decisions there. If it changes policy decisions, I don't see them being for the better right now, because I was talking to Crash earlier. They're having trouble every time they fix one of the shadow ban codes. It causes a cascade and fractures into these other issues.
Oh no.
And they're thinking that there are more codes that they don't even know about, because accounts are still there. Apparently some accounts are flagged with things that aren't even showing up on the back end. It's like another layer deeper, where you can't even, it's not even registering when you look at accounts on Twitter's back end. But
I think Elon needs to just get his Tesla engineers on a big project to just redo the whole code.
Yeah.
And redeploy it and find a way to make sure you transfer the database without to just a new code, whatever that looks like. It's kind of out of my realm. I don't know what it runs on.
I don't know, because I think that code's been so tampered with and corrupted, and who knows what kind of damage they did trying to wipe stuff off of there.
Right.
They could have they could have left out like crucial pieces of code just so it couldn't be replicated. But I mean, I'm sure Elon's got the resources to reverse engineer it. But does he have all of the updates that were made? Or were there updates that were hidden from everyone that nobody knows about?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Crash at this point, because for lack of a better way of describing it, he bought a $43 billion lemon.
Yeah.
And right now he needs to find a way to make lemonade. And the best way to do it, I agree with both of you. Reverse engineer this thing, go to the boys at Tesla and say, I need a brand new system built for this thing. You've got 24 hours or something crazy like, you got 24 hours. If you got nothing better to do, work on this. But yeah, something's got to give. And again, I'll give him the grace as a business owner and say, you know what, you've had your hands on this thing really since what, October, November, somewhere in there. You're 4 or 5 months into this thing. I don't expect perfection, but dude, show me progress. Show me this thing's getting better, and not just new bells and whistles. Show me you're addressing the fundamental issues that have been driving people away from the product that you now own. So, there's that.
Well, next week will be interesting because apparently the European Union, one of their representatives for digital safety or something like that, basically came out and gave him an ultimatum, like where he banned corporate journalists for propagating misinformation and doxing. They pretty much said play ball or else. And she said sanctions will be placed against, which I don't know, man. I think that, to me, that's just another, well, here they go. They're going to force their slime ball methods back in. So we'll see.
Let's see what Mr. Musk does about that one. That's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you guys think? I've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, I think we've caught everybody up on about everything that we've got as far as every angle of the diamond that there is to see. So, it's up to you fellas. You tell me how long you want to go. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So, hey, Front Porch on February 3rd. I was talking with Flagrant earlier. Want to get some of the guys together on Discord and have a watch party of Farron's documentary when it premieres.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, and then we can talk about it on the.
And anybody out there, if you're not on Chrissy's Discord, look up Chrissy Mare's Discord and hop in, because I'm assuming that's where you'll host it, right? Or are you going to host it on your own Discord?
I don't have my own Discord, but it doesn't take long to create one.
Yeah.
And you can always just do a group chat and just add people too.
Well, follow Crash at his give everybody your socials that way, and they can follow you there, and we'll get an update out this week.
Okay, yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Crash Mondo JR. I mean, that's my username like across everything, but Twitter is what I'm most active on.
Yeah. And when he makes a post, I'll throw it up on mine. And mine, of course, is Flagrant Trigger, not Triggers, Trigger on Twitter, and Flagrant Triggers on YouTube. And check out flagranttriggers.com to get some sweet merch. Mr. Porch, where can people find you at, sir?
I'm on Twitter at TheFrontPorchC1. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, got an Odyssey channel, got a locals page going. Now, if everybody's like, ooh, loads of content, give me a little bit. I'll get it there. But yeah, I'm trying to cover all the basic bases right now. We've got places established everywhere. We've even got one on Getter. But yeah, hopefully mid to late February, the channel gets going real good as far as like posted content. And, I appreciate you fellas having me on tonight. This is one of those topics that right now is really kind of near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to talk about it. So thank you for inviting me on. I genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And
yeah, thanks for
the viewers out there, hit like, subscribe. right now if you haven't done it.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. What's your take on the whole Eliza Bleu situation? Are you pro, con, or just kind of setting it out and watching the fireworks from the sideline? Let's see. Yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Front Porch, thanks for coming on, man. It was awesome. We're probably gonna try to have some guests on. Get a little rotation, try to talk about topical stuff. So who knows what next week's going to be, though. It could still be the Eliza Bleu stuff, depending on what comes out this week.
Yeah, just anytime you guys want to bring me on, just let me know. I'll be happy to come back. This has been a load of fun.
Yeah, man. It has. All right, everybody have a good night. Bye.
Ciao, Bella.